Welcome back to The Miracle Moment with Dr. Kenneth Orbeck. My name is JJ and I'm your host, and we are excited to pick right back up where we left off last time. Welcome, Dr. Orbeck.
Thank you. It's good to be back again. We had so much fun last time. I look forward to continuing our conversation. I love this conversation. I love what I do with medicine, and we'll just dig in deep today.
Speaking of deep, we are going straight into anti-aging.
We are. It's going to be fun.
So there's a lot of conversation out there. There's so much information that individuals can find about anti-aging. I'm curious to hear your thoughts, if you can share that with your audience.
Well, anti-aging is a huge subject, and you're right. It's all over. It's plastered all over the internet. And I really hesitate to even want to use the term anti-aging because there's no such thing as not aging. So I think it's more like graceful aging. And what I call it is optimal aging. Anti-aging, if we age gracefully and we optimize our aging, we can have a beautiful quality of life. And my goal is to really help individuals get to that point in their life where they work so hard. They work like crazy. They saved up their money. They're looking for retirement. It's I can't wait to get to that point. In fact, I met with my neighbors this weekend up the street. I just happened to meet with them, and they're a little bit in trouble with their health. It's like, and they save so much and they work so hard, and it's like, well, now they can't enjoy it. So I think we have to really talk about optimal aging. What can we really do to help ensure that as we age, we do it the best that we can? What type of inputs do we need? What kind of environment do we live in? And then carry that forward.
Well, so many people can benefit from this information. So what I'd love to start off with, when it comes to anti-aging, what are some of the most common complaints that you hear that people are faced with?
Oh, I hear a lot of complaints. Most of them are like, I don't have the energy I used to have. I don't have the memory I used to have. I'm more fatigued and I don't have the stamina. I want to go and I want to work out, but I just don't have the energy and the stamina to get through my workout facility. So that's a problem. I hear I don't enjoy sex as much anymore. I don't have it as much as I want, and it's not enjoyable. I hear that as well. There's just a lot of issues. My muscles are getting weaker. I look softer. I don't look toned. And I look in the mirror and just like, I'm not happy with myself. So those are most of the common complaints that I hear in my office.
And I'm sure so many people don't even want to talk about some of these complaints because they can be a little embarrassing, or they're uncertain of the next step to take.
Absolutely. It can be embarrassing, but I don't think it should be embarrassing. Mm-hmm. I think we all are going to age, as you know. We can state that as a fact, that age is a part of life. So two things we'll state right now for the record. You will age. You will die. Okay? It's not anti-death. It's not anti-aging. It's optimal aging, optimal living, and embrace it. So let's embrace life. Let's live with optimal aging and do the best we can do. There's a lot of things out there that we can do. And I love doing it.
Speaking of that, that's a perfect segue. What types of therapeutic menus do you have to combat some of these complaints that you hear often?
So we have a wide variety of different types of avenues to help the aging process. But first, I'd like to define the aging aspects. And let's see, we got to put this more in a very basic level because I don't want to drown in too much specifics and science here. I just want to talk about aging and, let's compare it to, say, maybe a city, for example. Let's take a look at a good, healthy city and what that city really needs to have, and let's compare it with our physiology and what we're made of. So what are the roles of the cell and what are the roles of a city? We have, first of all, we have power. We have to have a power production system in the city to make energy, right, to make it run. Well, that's our mitochondria, our ATP. Our energy within our cell is very, very important, and we have to optimize that. Then we have a detoxification system, our sanitation system. You've got to get the garbage out of the city. You can't let it accumulate. So the detoxification process is critical, and that involves our liver and our kidney. We have to support that, all right? Then we move on to circulation. That would kind of be our communication. All of our communication systems have to be in place. We have to be able to talk to each other. and that's our circulation system. That's very important as well. Nutrition, let's talk about that for a second. It's so vitally important. Ladies and gentlemen, you are what you eat. And so we have to make sure that we eat well. Keep the toxins out, right? So we have to eat nice, clean, healthy types of foods, preferably organic. Take out the toxins. Stay away from, processed foods and that kind of thing. We won't get into specific dietary markets right now. But anyway, our nutritional system is what? It's a supermarket. So shop at the outside and get some healthy stuff in your body. That's what I'm trying to say here. Then we have the immune system. If anything that I would really point toward the aging process that's so critical, it's immunity. We are surrounded with bugs that can attack us. We know that with the recent several years we had to live. It's been devastating, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
It's affected a lot of people's lives, right? Well, who made it through that? Individuals with optimal immunity. Immunosenescence is a part of aging, and you really have to support your immune system and keep it healthy and vibrant so that you can fight off those bugs that attack you, because you're going to be attacked every day. Then we have our central nervous system, which is our communication wires, house to house. The nervous system is very important, both central and peripheral, helping our muscles move, helping our brain tell us what to do. That's very important. And then we have basically the civil engineering of the city. Is that important? Yeah, that's really important. Well, what is that? Well, the civil engineering is a protein synthesis. Because what does your cell really do? What does it really do? It makes protein, right? So what is part of the aging process? That cell doesn't make protein properly. There's a disconnect, okay? And we become more catabolic. So let's introduce some terms here. Okay?
Yes, please do, because I've heard this anabolic, catabolic, but I'm not exactly sure how this fits into the big picture here.
It is the picture, okay? As we age, we get to middle age, and then we excel a little bit beyond middle age. What happens? What pauses do we go through? We go through menopause, right? That's the women who are losing their hormones, right? The ovaries don't work like they used to work anymore. We go through andropause. Andropause is the same thing, except it's in a male, and the hormones start to decline. Thyropause, T3 starts to decrease. Thyroid is so important for our metabolic function, right? Somatopause, well, there's our muscle system that starts to go down. And so now we don't have the ability of our skeletal system to really maintain the weight that we carry. We end up actually becoming more sarcopenic, which is loss of muscle mass. So one of the most important things that I look at in my practice with the aging process, how strong is your muscle? How strong is your bone? Will you be able to carry the weight with your muscles and your bones, or will you require an ambulatory aid as you age? And we measure that. We measure muscle mass, we measure bone mass, we measure fat mass, water content. It's all important in the aging process. Now, that being said, let's get into the anabolic-catabolic ratios, okay? As we age, we become more catabolic. The body breaks down. So the muscle starts to wane. We lose muscle mass. We lose bone mass. Things start to break down. It's usually driven more by cortisol, okay? So catabolic is a breakdown situation. It's where you actually burn muscle and build fat, right? So
That
as we
doesn't sound like it's a great combination.
It's not
Doesn't.
actually.
You'd want the opposite, right?
Absolutely,
Okay.
because as we age, what do we notice? We get thicker in the center. We start losing the nice muscle tone we used to have, correct? That's catabolic. Anabolic, on the other hand, we build. Okay, so the body builds itself back up. It has the proper cell signaling where we start building muscle. We maintain our bone mass and build bone. Okay, there's ratios in our bone. Basically, there's osteoblast, and the osteoblasts build bone. Okay, so we want to maximize the osteoblastic activity and help build bone. And the osteoclasts lose bone. And there's a ratio between the two. So we watch that as well. So basically, anabolic metabolisms are driven by cell signaling, and cell signaling is driven by different types of factors in the body that signalize the cell what to do. Actually signal the DNA how to make protein. That's very important.
It's very complex. This isn't just take a pill and it feels better.
It's not. We just looked at the cellular city. We know how important our brain is, our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic overdrive is not good either, because we live in a society that is just so intense, right? You walk out those doors and you're just like, bang, you hit this like world that is just so crazy and wild out there that your sympathetic nervous system goes into overdrive. That's not good. You have to have a balance between your parasympathetic and your sympathetic nervous system. And there's different things you can do in your lifestyle to help that. There's breathing exercises, thought processes, meditation, a lot of good things we can do to help build up our parasympathetic nervous system and calm down the adrenaline. So there's the central nervous system, the peripheral nervous system. We talked about that at length, right? Mm-hmm. And then I always want to stress the importance of the immune system, maintaining
which is critical.
Critical, absolutely.
So given all this information, which is so great, especially for somebody just listening and trying to understand how everything fits together, where do we go from here once you get this picture of where somebody is at with their health?
Where I would start is I would find a really good metabolic type of institution that understands and knows how to do testing. And so they can basically test the parameters that we just talked about. How healthy is your immune system? How strong is your muscle? How strong is your bone? Do you have good gut health? Are you living with a good microbiome? Okay, very important. A lot of literature coming out on the microbiome, how important it is to live with the right bugs in your body. And then moving on, we measure these things, and then we institute a menu and basically put them down. This is your situation. And I look at basically the chain of life. I call it the chain of life because there's a lot of links in that chain. And what I'm looking for at my initial consultation is, what is your weakest link that's going to take you out? And I'll focus on that first. Once we define that and help that, then we work in the other areas, the other chain links to help strengthen them as well. And your chandelier is going to hang a lot longer, basically.
Well, what I heard you saying is like creating this strong foundation first and then building blocks on top of each other so that you can continue to develop the goal to live a long and healthy life. But you need to first start with the thing that is the most critical aspect for someone.
Yes, and one of the most critical aspects that I look at on a regular basis, it's kind of the foundation of my optimal age management protocols, is hormonal optimization utilizing bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. So, because that's a cell signal right at the level of the DNA to help the cell know how to make protein. And we could discuss that at some point, but I think hormonal optimization is critical to the aging process. And then bringing in the right nutrition, living the right type of lifestyle, getting yourself to calm down the adrenaline, taking deep breath every now and then, doing deep breathing exercises and meditation, putting in the right things into your mouth, feeding yourself with the right fuel. You run a Ferrari. Right, JJ?
Yes.
Right. So you're a Ferrari. Mm-hmm. You don't want to put basic gasoline in that car. You want to use really good high test, right?
Absolutely.
That's the fuel in your body. So make sure you put in the fuel that your body requires to live an optimal life.
It's really interesting you mentioned fuel, because what I've found is most doctors that I've experienced, when they might say you need to make a shift or a change in their diet, it's very challenging for them to pinpoint exactly what to do. How do you support a client in understanding from a nutritional standpoint?
What a great question, because I know exactly how you feel. I was in that situation. I was in that very same situation, and I felt the same way. But what I found is that, as we proceed with lifestyle modification, you have to be gentle, all right? You cannot turn the Titanic in 60 seconds. It takes a lot of time to turn that kind of a mass in the water, right? I look at the same situation when I deal with people's lifestyle. I mean, they've been living that lifestyle now for years and years and years. And they're going to come in my office. I'm going to say, you're going to stop all this and you're going to eat this. Like, excuse me? Like, I don't even understand, first of all, how to cook that. Number two, it's not what my body wants. It's what it needs. But there's a difference between need and want, is there not? And what's interesting about the human body, it typically craves what it's allergic to. And so when you're feeding your body with things and you're craving things that you shouldn't eat. I see that all the time when I deal with, men and women with intestinal yeast overgrowth, and they crave sugar. I mean, they just crave the sweet stuff. And the more you feed it, the more they crave it. Well, pull it away, gradually bring it down. That craving will subside. So I start gently and move slowly. It's gentle and slow. And do it with education, okay? This is what we see when you do this. And so let's start this way. And a good example to start would be simply put like this. Why don't we just take our plates and buy a smaller one? Let's not eat off a 14-inch plate. Let's buy a 10-inch plate. And let's just cut down the quantity to start. That's a great beginning. All right? Now, you like color?
Love color.
I do too. Love color.
I can tell with your sharp suit today. Yes, we love a little color.
Anyway, so let's talk about color on your plate. Is your plate red and yellow and green? So have a lot of different colors. All those flavonoids are really good for your health. The antioxidants properties of that is really good as well. So I said, let's try to create a colorful plate instead of just brown and gray. That's a good start. And we start with aspects like that and move slowly and more slowly. And then we can start talking and getting more intricate about the fine tuning of your diet. What's really important in age management medicine as well is the fact that one real proven way to actually live longer and better is caloric restriction. Just reducing the caloric intake.
Interesting. There's all this rage about intermittent fasting. Does that play a part?
I love intermittent fasting.
Okay.
I found it to raise your growth hormone. I have found it to really do some positive things for the immune system, positive things for your metabolism. Intermittent fasting is really not difficult. It's so easy. You allow yourself to eat 7-8 hours a day. So you get up at 9 o'clock, or you get up at whatever time you get up and have breakfast. You get up at 6. Let's say you have breakfast at 7. You got 8 hours from 7. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. That's it. Now, if you eat later, let's say you're just going to have some water and you're going to eat breakfast at 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're done eating. So it's that 8-hour period you can pick any time you want, but you have 6 hours of not ingesting food.
Well, you explained it much simpler, I think, than most people think it is. Yeah. And I think that a lot of times we get stuck in our minds about what it could be, but understanding the basics of it, anybody could start something like that.
Oh, yeah. Very basic, So eat less, eat cleaner, and practice some intermittent fasting. It's good. It all works.
Thank you so much, Dr. Orbeck. This is the perfect place to end on nutrition. We will pick up next episode talking a bit more about hormones, so stay tuned. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.